everybody doing today? Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Let's see. Is my audio good? Let's see if the audio's good. Look like the audio's good. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Saturday. It's the weekend. I'm pretty sure everybody's out with their family or doing something. But if you decide to tune in with me today, I greatly appreciate it. Shout out to those who have subscribed. If you haven't, please hit the subscription button. Um, Hit that thumbs up or thumbs down. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, it's up to you. Appreciate it. Share it with someone, your family members, your friends, associates, and uh, your coworkers. Today, we got a lot to talk about. Um, Life's been good. Life's been really good. A lot of people don't take the chance to just stop, wake up, and thank God for waking them up today. If you believe in God, right? There are those who do. There's those who don't. Whatever you may think or believe, religion, not religion, spiritually, it's all up to you. But sometimes you just gotta stop and just thank God for waking you up today. Some people didn't wake up today. Some people don't get that luxury of maybe waking up today. Some people may have had a death in the family today. Some people may have had medical issues that has them incapacitated right now. So sometimes whatever you're going through, whatever your life brings you, sometimes you just have to stop and just appreciate life. Appreciate the ability to breathe, the ability to just be thankful. But there are some people who are not thankful. Some people are not grateful. Some people just don't appreciate. Some people's situations may be better. Some people's situations may be worse. But hey, it's on you. It's what you have to do to make your life better, right? Maybe you weren't dealt the cards that you wanted. Maybe you weren't given the opportunity or the privilege that others may have, right? And that just goes with one of the things that plays a role, right? One of the things that may be your influence, right? Your influence may be direct influence, such as your parents, such as your siblings, such as your friends, the relationships that you may have, even the teachers that you deal with if you're in school or whatnot, even your role models, right? And then you have people that are indirect influences in your life. Maybe it's your neighborhood as a whole, right? Maybe you're in a good neighborhood. Maybe you're in a neighborhood that is nice and clean. It's surrounded by people who have kids that creates a secured environment for those kids, or a secured environment just for the neighborhood as a whole. You may come from a less than privileged neighborhood, right, where you may see a lot more violence, a lot more crimes happening. You may see that the neighborhood is dirty, or people really don't consider taking care of it, and that can also play an influence in your life, right? And with these things, right, your first influence are your parents, or if you don't have parents, legal guardians, right? So your parents, right? Because some households are single households. That type of influence kind of gives you a direction, and it starts to create things in your mind as you grow, as what is normal to you, right? Your own anecdotal experience. And whether you come from a single parent household or a dual parent household, right? Or a household where you have a single or dual legal guardianship, is that you start to see how things operate amongst those people, right? You start to see how your parents or your legal guardians, how they may talk, right? How they may act and interact not only with you, as their child or as their dependent, but how they interact with one another if you're in a dual parent household, right? So kids are very, very transparent beings, transparent as anything, right? And as a child, children pick up on just the slightest things, right? It could just be an emphasis on maybe the use of profanity or maybe a gesture that you make on a normal basis, right? Or a repetitive of words or series of statements that you may say, right? You may say, you may be cursing. You may be just doing things, right? You could be doing a habit of actions that they just pick up on. And then when they finally start doing it, you may or may not be surprised. But I mean, if you're cursing all the time, could you be surprised that they start cursing around you? Or if they go outside their home, if they go to school and start using profanity, can you really be mad at them? Can you? Because these things happen, right? These things really happen on a daily basis. So with that influence, right, when they start doing that things, it becomes habit. It's their behavior. Their behavior starts becoming a habit. And can you really be upset at the environment, which is their influence, that you're presenting to them? No. Can you? Can you take accountability for that? That as a parent, that it is your responsibility to create an environment, whether it's direct or indirect, right? You can't control everything, but it's your job to create an environment that is safe or that presents the best outcome for your child or for it could be even people that you role model for, that you mentor for. Mentorship is also a part of that influence that you have, whether it be direct or indirect. You could be a role model for someone and not even know it, right? It could be the fact that someone that you may or may not have had any type of interaction with could be looking at you and looking up to you and seeing that you are maybe a positive or negative role model, right? That's where the behavior. The behavior can be good or bad. And that's the second thing. That's the second thing that kind of can help you get your life right. But also can hinder. Can hinder. Your behavior determines based on where you are can present a positive or negative outcome on the things that you do in life. So, for example, um, a a household that may use profanity, right? In society, right? For a child to use profanity, some may think that's right, some may think that's wrong. However, in the public eye, in my opinion, is that it's wrong. The use of profanity with a child shouldn't be isn't presented as professional, right? So as the child grows up, they hear profanity, they continuously use profanity, and as a parent, either it goes checked or it goes unchecked. And when they start growing, and interacting with the outside world and interacting with other people, that's when life happens. That's when life starts kind of give you a reality check and giving and checking you to show you and tell you what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Right. Just because it's acceptable in your home doesn't mean that it's acceptable for the outside economy or the outside world. So, with knowing that, say you go to school, it's acceptable at home to use profanity. However, in policies of school, it's unprofessional and it's not accepted. It's not accepted and it's against rules and policy at school. However, you as a kid, you use it and you have you create a consequence of whether it's good or bad, right? But in this example, it's negative. So the example would be that you get detention, right? Or you may get a warning at first. Usually, most of the time, if it's the first offense, usually teachers be maybe give you a warning, right? However, depending on the how much it escalates, could escalate to detention, escalate to suspension, or any type of disciplinary action, right? So then let's say this happens and they call your parents like, hey, this is the situation. Parent comes in, which happens. Um, and one of two things can happen: whether the parent can fix the problem, or they can not fix the problem and basically say that, hey, what's wrong? What's the matter with this? Why is it so wrong? So what? How, or what did my child do? Or what did you do to my child? Right? It's instance of uh, automatically not understanding or getting both sides of the story. So say the parent doesn't find it wrong, they start not antagonizing. I'm sorry. They start being aggressive towards the teacher or principal or whoever, the counselor, and that also influenced the child, right? Like, hey, and it reinforces that I'm not in the wrong. See, my parent saying it's acceptable, right? Who are you to tell me, right? You don't take care of me. You're just a teacher. Who are you? And then it starts reinforcing this idea that this is okay. And it kind of goes to my third point, right? Of the action. The behavior creates the action, which is essentially habit. So if this is a cycle of things and it doesn't get corrected, or it goes unchecked, I mean, the reality is the outside world is going to check you. But that we're gonna hold on that for now. So the idea is that the behavior is okay. It's okay to use profanity. It's okay to do these things, and it greatly affects the morals and values, and it shows that there's no discipline, right? Because behavior is based on values, it's based on discipline, it's based on what you're taught at home, that is, and what you're taught outside that's acceptable for the environment. So with this, you begin to neglect the fact that maybe something's wrong. You start to see something in a singular way, right? You start seeing that not being optimistic in this point, and being open to the fact that, hey, this could be wrong. Why? Because your influence, right? Your direct influence in this case, which is your parent, is reinforcing that you're not wrong, that you did nothing wrong, and that could possibly pose a problem later on in life. So further down the line, right, the more you reinforce something, the more you reinforce an action or the behavior, the harder it is to have that child as they grow, or have that individual as they grow, be open to open to understanding that they may be wrong. So then further down the line, the actions could escalate in this manner, right? As they use profanity, right? The reaction of someone they use profanity against could become aggressive and could escalate, where uh, aggression meets aggression, and which could possibly escalate to to worse things, right? Um, it could escalate to people being harmed. It could escalate to people could be losing your job, getting expelled from school, which ultimately makes you could make you a dropout, where you don't graduate, because these things are consequences. These things are the effect of your actions, right? So I just start at the beginning. I go by the concept that influence creates behavior, which ultimately creates habit, which is your action. Your habit is based on the history or the experience or the longevity of your actions. So um, this could pose a problem, right? As you get older, this could also pose a problem to other things, right? Let's say you get into a relationship, right? And your spouse or your significant other that you're in this relationship with communicates that they don't like you using profanity, right? And you really can listen, and you can kind of try to comprehend that this is either to them that this is how I talk, or you can essentially change. I wouldn't say change, but you can compromise, because everything is about communication, comprehension, and compromise in relationships. So you could sit down, communicate that, hey, this is a difficult thing for me because it's a habit that I've been doing for a long time. And growing up, hey, I wasn't told that this wasn't a problem, right? My my environment, right? My influence, my parents or my friends do it. Everyone's around me does it. Um, People I associate with does it, and you can either take it or leave it, right? Or you can understand, right? You can kind of compromise to where the fact that, hey, maybe, right? That's where maturity comes in, logic, reasoning, and you could pretty much be like, hey, maybe there is something. There is something that's wrong with this, right? We don't know. We don't know. But people are like that and people may not be like that, right? So what does this entail? Um, that you as a person, it is your responsibility to ultimately understand that your the your I'm sorry, my dog. That ultimately your behavior and your actions is solely up to you. It's solely your responsibility to know that whatever happens, whatever you decide to do, I mean, I want to say it's okay. Let me not say that. That's the wrong thing to say. That it's essentially you have to be okay, right? Don't live life with regrets. Be okay with whatever you decide to do. Be okay with the the concept that you are in charge of you. You are in charge of your actions, and that only you can determine whether you want to change, whether you want to do better. And hey, if you don't, solely up to you, right? It's solely up to you. And the fact that you're doing stuff like this should be a notation that whether you're whether where you stand in life, basically. So whether people want to be surrounded by you, whether you're being progressive in life, whether you're being successful in life, and it'll show, right? Essentially that the um what's the word? Sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Is that essentially your life is going to determine your life is going to be determined what you do, right? So um as a man, right? I kind of mentor young men. I mentor guys around here, and I kind of help them essentially um, either get to where I am in life, or if they can improve better than where I am in life. That's fine. However, it's all about having that foundation of what's around you, your influence, right? So maybe you need to surround yourself with better friends, right? Maybe you need to surround yourself with people who are in a better position than you are, making more money than you are, um, based going to the gym, people who are better fit, right? Who has a better mind frame on making better decisions in life. I usually tell people the best thing to do is to uh, find a role model, find somebody who can mentor you, and you can have several mentors, you can have several role models. That you need to find someone who is either in the place that you want to be, or is at the close to the stages where you're looking to be, right? So if you want, for example, if you want to be a doctor, right? You wouldn't go to someone who knows nothing about being a doctor, or I'm sorry, let's say surgeon, right? You're not going to go a um, you're not going to go to pediatrician who's never done surgery before. You're not going to go to, say, a pharmacist in order to know what you have to do or where you have to go in order to become a surgeon, right? You want to kind of put yourself in the space of people who are doing what you want to do or where you want to go. So, in this case, I help out young guys who want to do certain things, so like trade, if they want to be more healthy, if they want to get fit, right? They should pretty much, first thing I always say that people always get on me. If I see somebody who not doing it, who not got themselves together, or who want to kind of be where I am, or on the verge, first thing I say is go to the gym. Go to the gym. And a lot of people will look at me, whether they're fit or not fit, it doesn't matter. I still tell the person the same thing. Because the concept of going to the gym is not to just look good, right? It's not just to look good at all, or it's not to just get strong or get muscles and all that. It's the routine, right? If you can go somewhere and you can complete a task, or you can and make it a habit, right? Not just, you can go to the gym, maybe you go 2 to 3 times a week for maybe an hour and a half each day. Cool. That's repetition, right? That's progress. So maybe the 2 days turn into three, or maybe the 3 days turn into five, right? But the whole point is to create this repetition, create this habit that what you start, you finish, or what you plan to do, you're serious about it, and your intentions are that you're serious about it. So not only that, creating that environment, you being in that environment, you're in the environment of like-minded people. Even if you don't like it, right? It's something. There could be other things, right? If you don't want to go to the gym, I could encourage someone to get into some type of hobby. So sports, go do some type of hobby that you like. You go bowling, right? You can go. Some people do karaoke night, right? The whole point and the whole idea is to surround yourself with people that are like-minded. So, like for example, me lately, I've been going to the district court and sitting in public hearings, right? I've developed a hobby and a habit of, and a liking to law, understanding the laws, understanding my environment, understanding things that put into place that can better help me become a better person, and understanding where I want to go, right? So there's different types of laws, not just for crimes, right? Even though most people think, hey, when you go to court, you're going for some type of criminal suit or civil suit, right? There's some type of negative aspect to it, and that's not necessarily true. So I go there to listen in on hearings, right? Understand not only the legal aspect, but the civil aspect, right? Ordinances that may be going around, and some things may have changed. Some things that were, I wouldn't say legal, but some things that were a law maybe a month ago could have been amended this upcoming month. And it's just being on top of things, right? It's about being better, doing better, and staying on top of things. Create a habit. Not only that, that makes my environment to whereas I meet people who understand these things more than me, right? I got a chance to talk to the judges. I got a chance to talk to the public defenders, or the prosecutor attorneys, and just even some of the people who were there who had cases. I even talked to some of them. And the thing is, the aspect is, you begin to develop and understand your environment, how people think, how people are, and that gives you an idea of where you stand and what the things that you need to do. So, in one of my other videos, and like I always say, my aunt and uncle always told me, learn from other people's mistakes, right? That's an aspect of influence and behavior, with understanding that if I'm just watching what people do, if I'm just uh, seeing what people do, then maybe I can uh, minimize damages. Maybe I can minimize the negative effects or the negative consequences that may happen if I decide to do something, if I decide to react, right? Because even as a man, right, or even as a male, um, it is important to not think emotionally. Like I've talked about this before. It's very important to make sure that you have a handle, because our 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 emotions can ultimately cause it could cause damage. It could cause aggression. It can cause bad things to be happen. However, with that, when it's controlled, it can it can be used for good things, right? It could be how can I say when you put it in the right place, it can be used for good things. But um so yeah. So going back, right? I always tell these young guys, right, to do these things, and to, like I was told, to stay on your purpose, right? Your purpose is whatever you decide that you want to do with your life. As a man, purpose is very important, and it's good to be very purposeful in pursuing the things that you want. Um, it's nothing wrong if you decide that you want to be in a relationship. You're looking for someone else. Cool, awesome. If you want to be uh, in a relationship, this is just my opinion. I advise. Cool, that's not wrong. However, being the man, being a traditional man, because that's why I consider myself a traditional type of individual that protects, that provides for his family, that leads his family, guides his family to the right place. And in order to do that, we have to be on the same page, right? It's not saying that whatever I say goes, but in order for me to protect you, in order for me to provide for you, I need you to understand what we need to do and where we need to go. So it's always good to make sure that you have someone who understands that, someone who you could communicate with, and who could communicate that back, that this is where we're going. Yeah, things may change over time inherently. However, it's about the progression. And in that progression is about waking up, and at the end of the day, being able to choose and choose the fact that this is where we're going, right? It's, I would say, it's not always necessarily about you or the other person, but it's about the concept of where you're trying to go. This is our goal. This is where we're trying to do. This is where we're trying to go. This is what we're trying to accomplish in this relationship. And I think people get that misconstrued with, this is what I want. Like it's about me, being very selfish on the aspect. And it's not for me to say if that's right or wrong, because people are going to do what they want. People usually worry about themselves and only care about themselves. But it's about being able to do it to, whereas you can think about yourself. However, if you really care about this person, how is it going to affect them, right? And it's not saying that you are to neglect yourself on that point, right? But it's the simple fact that understanding that, as going back to as a man, right? You have to be okay with whatever you decide to do. The decision that you make, do not regret it. Yeah, you can apologize if you think that you have wronged someone. However, ultimately, be okay and be all right with whatever decision you decide to make. So, say, for example, right? Say you have a job, you're not making the amount of money that you make. You've been at this company for about, let's say, about 4 years. You're not getting nowhere. You're you're checking all the boxes. You're doing your job. Coming to work on time. You're you're a good employee, right? I wouldn't say you're the best, but you're a good employee, right? You're a candidate. I would say that you could be a candidate for the promotion. However, even putting in the work, right? I won't even say that. I'll say you are the candidate. You're the best fit to be promoted. You're coming in early. You know a lot of things, right? You're able to um, whatever you think or whatever your roles or responsibilities are, you're able to efficiently and effectively do them. And you not only effectively do them, you do them at a pace to whereas you're able to help others. People come to you for help. People come to you for advice. You're training people. You're in the position to whereas you're that guy. But they won't promote you. Instead, they end up promoting this guy. So say you don't feel appreciated, you don't feel welcome. So you start looking at other places to go. Still working at this place, right? And you're giving it some time, right? You're going to another position, another promotional position has opened up, and you decide that you're going to wait a little longer. Still leaving your options open to go somewhere else, but hey, now let's say it's about let's say it's about uh say 60 days away from the determination of whether you're going to be promoted or not, and you get a call from a company, say at this company you're making about $28 an hour, and this newer company is giving you says that you're in a better position, right? You're in a better position. You're in a supervisor position. You're starting off at about $31 an hour in this position. Let's say same benefits as the position that you're in right now at the same place that you're in, but just in a better position and more money. The caveat to this is that the place that you're in, you could be put in this new promotional position. Not only that, you have seniority at this place, or you can go to this other place and get the money that you wanted. Now, let's say because you are the type of person that's like, yeah, I want to go, but I have so much seniority in this place. I really like the people here. The leadership is all right. And on the other hand, you have this other place where you don't know about the leadership, right? You're starting over. You have no seniority. You have to choose, right? All right. So you turn down the new offer of the other job, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay committed. This 60 days later, you don't get it. You don't get the promotion. Now, here you are upset. You go home and you're debating on quitting. Now you're quitting. You're saying like, hey, you're talking to your the person you're in a relationship, like, hey, this is not fair. I think I don't know why I'm not getting chose. And they're like, well, maybe you should quit. Should have took that other one, right? Or maybe they're like, yeah, they're being understanding, like, yeah, maybe it's time to leave. You can't really be upset. I mean, you could be upset, right? But it was your decision. You had the opportunity to go somewhere else, get the position, get more money, but you decide to stay, and now you don't know, right? You could call that other place, see if that position's filled. You can go somewhere else. But with that being said, you could have, you don't know, but you waited to see if you was gonna get the promotion. You didn't get the promotion. But let's say you don't know, you could have went to the other place, and what if you got the promotion, right? You got the pay, but what if that was it as well, right? Are you okay with that? Are you okay with not knowing? Are you okay with living with the regret that shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you didn't? You never know. But in that sense, don't be in the place to where you just mope over it. Don't you just stay to yourself and you reminisce over things. Don't let this. You should learn from it. Learn that okay, next time I'm gonna take take the job. Next time, I'm not going to stay here, because at the end of the day, you have to worry about what's best for you and your family, right? As the man, you have to worry about your purpose, being the leader, and be okay that, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I need you to trust me. This is where I'm going, right? So, effectively, is that, yeah, it could get hard sometimes, right? What if she left you? It's like, oh, you're an idiot for not taking that position. I'm leaving you. So, okay, all right, all right. Sorry, I'm that type of person. I'm just like, all right, bye. Because at the end of the day, that if that person truly understands you as a man, that where you're going, your purpose, and what you're trying to do, they're going to stick by you. They're going to understand that you as an individual are making the right call, regardless if it's good or bad, right? They have to be able to trust you in your leadership, trust you on that your actions or your behavior or what you've done, and not only in the past, well, in the past, has always been what's best for you, what's best for your family, right? That's where the morals, that's where the values come in, right? It's where the discipline comes in. That's where the resilience comes in. But also, on the other aspect of it, these are not things that only will affect you positive. These things can also affect you negative, right? And it's not necessarily saying that it's going to make your life right because it's good, but even bad things, right? Even the negative influence, even the bad behaviors that is incorporated or that is a part of your life can present your life to be right. How is that? Right? That probably sounds weird, right? But it's essentially that, say for example, um, you're late for work, right? You have you have 5 minutes to get there, 8 minutes away, and you're coming in this intersection, and you're not at the light just yet, but say you're about maybe 10 feet from the light, and it turns yellow. You have 8 minutes. You're 5 minutes away. Have 8 minutes to get there. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna stop at the light. You're gonna take that light. It's a decision to be made, right? Let's say you blew that light. Whoop whoop. Now that 5 minutes just turned into 15. 15. Right, you made a bad decision. Bad action. Bad action. You blew that light. And yes, something bad happened, got the consequence of you getting pulled over. Officer gives you a ticket, lets you go on your way. What is it that you learn from that? Right? Next time it's like, okay, are you going to mopo like, damn, God didn't have to give me a ticket. Why are you pulling me over? Why you giving me a ticket? I can't believe he gave me a ticket. You know? Or to get your life right, take this as a learned lesson. Because at that point, it's like you're blaming, you're regretting what you did. Why? You made the decision. You made the decision. Take it for what it is. Learn from it. Next time, stop at the light. Yeah, it may be 30, maybe 45 seconds, maybe 60 seconds that you're at that light. However, that's better than not only are you late, super late now, but you got a ticket that you have to pay, and you possibly got points on your license now, and you possibly see all these things that's racking up. Even a negative decision, even a bad decision, a bad behavior can get your life right. It's about what you do with it. It's about what you learn from it. It's your choice. So, um, yeah, influence creates behavior. Behavior creates habit. It's your actions, right? It's what you do. Another thing I tell some of the guys that I talk to, read a book. Read read a book that's going to get you to the place that you want to be as well. Uh, I recommend some books. For example, I'm reading The Richest Man in Babylon right now. Great book. The book that I read before that was Blink by Gladwell, and before that, I read Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So I'm actually been procrastinating a little bit. Uh, my goal was to try to get at least 12 books read, which I still have a lot of time to do. I'm made it my business to try to read 12 books every year. 12 new books. Well, not even 12 new books, but 12 books a year. I may reread some of these books, and I'm always looking for new books to read. So I'm on book number 3. So with that being said, right, books that you can essentially not only relate to, but that's going to help and benefit you and your character. So with this, it's almost like going to the gym. Reading a book not only helps you be consistent, but it can also uh, help you learn. It can teach you something. And not only I don't tell them about uh, consistency, like behavior, right? But I also encourage learning. I always try to learn something new every day, right? Uh, Learning is one thing, studying is another. To me, they're two different things. You study what you learn, and you act on what you study, right? You can't study something unless you learn it first. So, read. Um, Hell, go look at articles. Go look at history. Go look at whatever is going to help benefit you and progress you to go in the direction that you want. Do it. So yeah, learn something. Reading is a good thing. You learn a lot by reading a lot of leadership books. So I gave you 3. Blink by Gladwell. Uh, you can't hurt me by David Goggins, and then The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clausen. Yeah, George Clausen. So reading is good. I always uh, I always encourage reading. And then once you get done reading, um, also encourage, don't just read it once. Try to read it at least twice. And then whatever you read, um, take from it, study it, and not only study it, but make it a part of your life. Right? These books are really good books. They teach you how to uh, kind of incorporate good, positive things and positive influence in your life. Right? So, um, so yeah, learn, study, and uh, incorporate is the best way to say it. Learn, study, incorporate, which means incorporate means make it a part of your life, make it a part of your actions, right? Um, Discipline is a good thing, right? Values, morals, these are things that I do. Uh, this is a discipline of me, of what I do. Discipline is very good. Discipline and having a routine, right? Routine kind of creates discipline. Uh, if it a good routine. So, for example, every day I wake up, I pray, I wash my face, brush my teeth, and I try to study something. I take my dog out, I walk him, I feed him, and it's kind of repetitive everything. Hell, first thing when I do when I wake up, I drink a bottle of water. It probably sound weird, but no. When you first wake up, drinking a bottle of water, right, 16.8 ounces, essentially actually kind of cleanse your body. It gets everything else out, helps you poop, helps you do all that, right? It kind of cleanses out your body, and it helps you actually think and actually able to help you function throughout the day. So I do that. Like I said, I pray, drink a bottle of water, go brush my teeth, wash my face, uh, freshen up, take my dog out, and then I get my day started from there, right? I try not to procrastinate. I try not to do things like that. Uh, it can be, it has been difficult in the past for me, and because of decisions I it's not that I just procrastinate, but um, sometimes you get make it complacent, right? Complacency is one of those human factors, to whereas determining what type of emotional state or mental state that you're in, right? You could get very complacent when you just do something over and over and over again, and then you don't start seeing the benefit of it, or you don't see that you become so relaxed about it. So complacency can also lead to procrastination, or you skipping steps, or you kind of not, or being undisciplined, right? So kind of try to stay away from that. That's just one of my flaws that I've had in the past. Doing a lot better now, right? Here I am talking to y'all. Decided to, like I said, get my podcast buck up, whether it's doing a video that's pre-recorded, like vlogging, to show things that I do on a daily, show my life, or it could be me doing live stream like I am right now. Uh, as you see, I love talking. I love interacting with people. I love people. Um, I love being of service to people. And I think it's very important to interact with people, right? Especially if you want to be successful. It's very important to kind of surround yourself with not only successful people, but people you could just learn from, right? To me, success is not just wealth. It's not just the financial parts of it. It's not just the aspect that I win. To me, success could just be learning from someone, determining that someone could have said something to me that made me realize something or had a positive influence, right? Success can come in many shapes, ways, and forms. So don't look at success as just the financial aspect of it. So, yeah, I think that's all I got. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in today. Uh, per usual, go and subscribe if you haven't. Like, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. There's information to, whereas if you have a idea or a topic, if you have questions for me, stuff is down in the description. You could get a hold of me. And yeah, reach out to me. Follow me I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. So yeah, like I said, subscribe. Even share this with somebody. Please share this with somebody. And thanks. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Later.